All of us are already aware of the consequences of climate change. This year, we have witnessed immense climate impact around the world. From floods that put one-third of Pakistan underwater, to Europe's hottest summer in nearly 500 years, to hurricanes and typhoons. In the latest, the developing nations have said that rich countries must urgently develop a plan to assist countries suffering from the ravages of extreme weather, as the failure to take early action on the climate crisis has left them increasingly vulnerable. The V20 nations, which are made up of 20 of the most vulnerable countries, like the small Pacific nations such as Vanuatu, to Bangladesh and the Philippines, these countries are now facing the worst impact of the climate crisis, and in a bid to ensure that they are prepared for any future natural disasters, they have given out a set of proposals on how the rich nations should pay for loss and damage caused by the climate crisis. So what are these loss and damages which the V20 is referring to? Well, it refers to the most disastrous impact of the climate breakdown, such as hurricanes or severe flooding like those that was witnessed in Pakistan. In their discussion paper, they have made various proposals on how the rich nations can raise money for the loss and damage fund, such as to levy a windfall tax on oil and gas producers or on frequent flyers. And with the UN Climate Summit coming up, these demands are likely to be a key issue at the summit. Moreover, this comes after a long-standing pledge by the rich countries to provide some $100 billion a year by 2020 in climate finance to poor countries, which has still not been fulfilled. And most of the money that does flow goes to emission-cutting projects in middle-income countries rather than in helping the poorest to adapt to climate impact. The V20 also pointed out that it is the G20 countries, the world's biggest economies, which produce about 80% of global greenhouse gas emissions. And due to that, the poor nations who produce less amount of global greenhouse gas emissions have to face the consequences of the climate crisis. And for more on this, we are now being joined by Amira Adil from Islamabad. Amira is the Assistant Director of Sustainability at the National University of Sciences and Technology. Welcome to the broadcast, Amira.
Thank you for having me.
So my first question, rich countries must urgently develop a plan to assist countries suffering from the ravages of extreme weather. That is what the proposal entails. My question is, how realistic is this plan, and do you even see this happening?
I think we're past the point where we discuss what's realistic and what's not, because the scale at which we're being affected is unimaginable at this point. And the problem is that the people who are being affected are not among the people who are discussing these proposals. And until we have them on the table, they cannot adequately set out their demands. And the people who are discussing these proposals, who are at the negotiations at places like COP27, they don't know what it feels like to be dying from climate change and climate change related events. So I think no matter how unrealistic or it is economically or socioeconomically or however they might find it unrealistic, it's an absolute need. It's as much of a need as maybe finding a cure to cancer at this point. So I don't think that we have a choice in doing this.
Right. Amira, one of the proposals is rather controversial, to levy a windfall tax on oil and gas producers or on frequent flyers. Will rich countries agree to this?
Probably not. Again, the realistic plays into part. Probably not, but we already have started seeing policies across the world that may eventually lead to this. For example, the U.S. Inflation Reduction Act, it offered tax incentives to renewable energy, and that is not exactly what we need, but it is a step in the right direction. And I think that the more that our economy shifts towards renewables and towards climate-friendly solutions, the more we'll be able to see this plan in action.
Right, Amira, thank you so much for all those insights, and thanks for joining us on WION at this hour.
Thank you.
WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.